What's up, everybody? Hello and welcome to Not Your Average Meta, an MTG Commander channel dedicated to bringing you decks and commanders you wouldn't normally find in your average meta. This week's video is brought to you by our new channel sponsor, International MTG. If you're looking for competitive pricing on your favorite MTG cards, old and new, be sure to check out the International MTG store and TCG Player, link in the description of this video. This week on Not Your Average Meta, we've got a special pre-con commander game showcasing some of the new legends from the much-anticipated return to Dominaria. We would also like to shout out our second full-time channel sponsor for Season 3, The Hobby Horse in Taylorville, Illinois. If you're ever in the central Illinois area, be sure to stop in and check out the store as well as saying hi to Martin. This week's Dominara United game features Ryan making his first appearance this season, playing the new 5-color Painbow precon deck being led by Jared Carthalion. Gavin returning this week playing the Phyrexian fan favorite Sheoldred the Apocalypse. Justin back again playing the Mardu Dominaria precon Legends Legacy being led by Dihada, Binder of Wills. And Foggerall playing the newly appointed captain of the Leatherlight, Shanna, Purifying Blade. Now the other fighters, let's step into the Thunderdome and see which deck will come out on top. Turn 1, Justin plays Shizo's Death Storehouse. Fog plays a Plains for turn. Ryan plays a tapped Frontier Bivouac. Gavin then plays a Swamp and passes. Justin plays a Mountain for turn. Fog plays a Forest for turn. Ryan plays an Exotic Orchard as his land for turn before paying 2 for a Path to the World tree, going to find a land to put to his hand. Gavin plays a Swamp for turn, then pays 2 for Demonic Tutor, going to get a card from his library. Justin plays a tapped Temple of Triumph for turn, scrying 1, keeping on top of his library. Fog plays a Hinterland Harbor for turn before he pays 2 for a Herald of the Pantheon. Ryan plays a tapped Bad River for turn and passes. Gavin plays an Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth for turn, then pays 2 for a Jet Medallion. Justin plays a tapped Smoldering Marsh for turn before paying 3 to cast a Commander Sphere. Fog plays a Force for turn before paying 1 to cast his signature card, Soothsaying, gaining a life. He then pays an additional 3 for a Darksteel Plate before going to combat, hitting Justin for 2 damage. Ryan plays a Plains for turn, then casts a Naiad Charm to deal 3 damage to Fog's Herald, killing it. He then cracks his Bad River to go get a land while he passes. Gavin draws and taps out to cast his commander Sheoldred. Justin loses 2 life when he draws for turn, then pays 3 to destroy Sheoldred with a Mortify before passing his turn. Fog draws and there's pays 2 to cast his commander Shanna. Ryan plays a Mountain as his land for turn before paying Wooburg to cast his commander Jared Carthalion. He then upticks his commander to create a Kavu token. Gavin draws and pays 4 to cast Greed before passing. Justin draws and pays 3 to cast Krinko, 10 Street Kingpin. Fog plays a tap Port Town for turn, then pays to equip Shanna with the Darksteel Plate. He then goes to combat, swinging his commander at Ryan for 3 damage while he gains 3 life. He then pays 1 into Shanna's ability to draw a card on his insta. Ryan draws and pays 3 for Philagi Wayfarer before downticking his commander to put 5 +1/+1 counters on the Wayfarer as well as his Kavu. He then goes to combat and swings his Kavu at a defenseless Gavin for 8 damage. Gavin draws and pays 4 for a Damnation in order to wipe the board of all creatures except for Shanna, who's indestructible. Justin draws and pays 4 in order to cast his commander Dihada. He then downticks his commander to reveal the top 4 cards of his library, choosing to put 1 legend into his hand and the rest into his graveyard. This then creates 3 treasure tokens, which he then sacks in order to help cast a Peregrine Dynamo. Fog pays 2 in order to cast Favor of the Overbeing, enchanting his commander. He then pays another 2 to enchant his commander with a security bypass before going to combat. Fog then swings his commander Gavin for 5 commander damage while he gains 5 life and connives. He then draws a card and discards a non-land card, putting a +1/+1 counter on his commander. Ryan draws and pays 3 to cast a Commander Sphere, and then another 2 for an Arcane Signet. He then upticks his commander to create another Kavu and passes. Gavin draws and plays another Swamp for turn. He then pays 1 for a Dark Ritual. He then uses this mana to help recast his commander once again. He then uses his last floating mana to draw a card and gain 2 life. Justin draws for turn, losing 2 life before casting Thrill of Possibility, discarding a card, drawing 2 more cards, and then losing 4 more life. He then plays a Swamp for turn before paying 3 to cast Moira, Urborg Haunt. Justin then upticks his commander, targeting his Peregrine, before attacking Ryan, who chump blocks with his Kavu. On his instep, Fog casts a Path to Exile, targeting Sheoldred, and in response, Gavin exiles Shanna with a Deadly Rollick. Fog draws for turn while Gavin goes to find a land. He then plays a Plaza of Heroes for turn before paying enough to recast his commander. Ryan draws and taps 6 to cast a 2-headed Hellkite. He then downticks his commander to put 5 +1/+1 counters on his Hellkite and his Kavu. Ryan then goes to combat, swinging his Kavu at Fog and his Hellkite at Justin. Neither block and they both take their damage. Ryan then plays a Cinderglade and passes. Gavin plays a Swamp for turn before tapping out to cast OG Sheoldred. On his upkeep, Justin sacks his Peregrine and then draws for turn. He then plays to tap Temple of Silence, scrying 1, keeping on top of his library. Justin then pays 2 to cast a Hero's Blade before paying to equip it to Moira. He then uptakes his commander, targeting Moira before swinging her at Fog. Once damage is dealt, Justin returns his Peregrine back to play from his graveyard. Fog untaps, and before his upkeep, he pays 2 to exile Sheoldred with a Resculpt, giving Gavin a 4/4 elemental token. Fog then draws for turn before paying 3 to enchant his commander with an Armadillo Cloak and go into combat. He then attacks Ryan for 5 more commander damage while he gains 10 life. Ryan plays a tapped Flooded Plain for turn before paying Wooburg to cast a Maelstrom Archangel. He then goes to combat, aggressively swinging his Hellkite and Kavu at Fog for 18 damage. Second main, Ryan uptakes his commander and creates another Kavu. Gavin pays 3 and casts Rankle, Master of Pranks, and then goes to combat, swinging at Justin for 3 damage. After damage is dealt, he then chooses to have each player discard a card, lose a life and draw a card, and also sacrifice a creature. Gavin then plays a Swamp for turn and casts Underworld Dreams. Justin draws for turn and loses a life. He then plays a Command Tower and casts the first Soul Ring of the season. Justin then downtakes his commander to reveal his top 4 cards before putting all of them into his graveyard, which creates him 4 treasures. He then uses all of his treasures to help cast the Kick Josu Vest, which has him creating 8 2/2 Night tokens when he enters play. Fog draws, loses a life, and then plays a Deserted Beach for turn before paying 4 for a Sarah Paragon. Ryan draws and loses a life before paying 3 to cast a Mana Cannons. He then casts Cyrus the Withering Storm, which has him shooting Rankle for 3 damage. Ryan then uptakes his commander to create another Kavu token before going to combat, swinging his Kavu Gavin and his Hellkite at Fog. Neither block and they both take their damage. Ryan then draws 2 cards off his Hellkite trigger and loses 2 life. Gavin plays a Swamp for turn, then pays to recast Sheoldred. After not being able to guarantee Fog, he has a plan to stop Ryan from winning. Fog then counters her with an Arcane Denial. Justin draws, losing a life, while Gavin draws 2 cards and Fog draws, also losing a life. He then plays a Reliquary Tower before paying 4 for an Ambition's cost, drawing 3 cards and losing 6 life. He then pays 2 for a Sword of the Chosen before downtaking his commander to reveal his top 4 cards. Justin then bends all 4 in order to create 4 treasure tokens, which he then uses to help cast Adriana, Captain of the Guard. He then goes to combat, swinging Moira and Josu at Ryan, a Knight at Gavin, a Knight at Fog, and then an additional 6 Knights at Ryan. Ryan casts Echoing Truth, targeting Justin's Knights. This then devastates the table and bounces all the Knights back to Justin's hand. Fog draws for turn and loses a life. He then pays 3 using his Paragon to cast an Armadillo Cloak from his graveyard. Ryan draws for turn and loses a life. He then plays a Prairie Stream for turn before downtaking his commander to put 5 +1/+1 counters on his Angel and Hellkite. Ryan then pays to recast his commander again, shooting Gavin for 5 damage. He then downtakes Gerard again, putting 5 more counters on his Angel and his Kavu. After this, Ryan declares his combat step, where he swings one of his giant creatures at each of his opponents, winning the game. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you can see more games and decks you wouldn't normally see in your average meta.